The locomotive, forged type, is one of the most reliable transportation objects on land. And the Sodor engines are the power behind the branch lines and main lines that make up the island of Sodor. This is NWR Stories. A proper arrival. On the island of Sodor, the engines love working hard and are proud of their heritage. But none of them is more proud than Duck the Great Western Engine. He's a good chap that's very proud of his heritage and always believes that the Great Western Way is the hard-working way. One day, Duck arrived in the station with his early morning train, on time, and he was proud of this. On time and very reliable. Yep, that is the Great Western Way, said Duck proudly. I can't agree, said a familiar voice. Suddenly, Oliver backed onto the line next to him, with Old Slowcoach in tow. Oh, Oliver, I didn't expect you to be here. I thought you would have been well down there by Allsburg by now, said Duck. I thought so too, but the Fat Controller wanted me to meet him here. I wonder why though. Well, luckily I am here to tell you guys what I brought you guys here for, said the Fat Controller, showing up. Good morning, Richard Hat, sir, said the engines in unison. Good. I brought you guys here because I need you guys to show a new engine around. And I could not pick two better engines but you two, said Richard Hat. Oh, big pardon, sir. Thank you for the compliment. But what does that mean? The engine that you guys are going to be helping is actually a relative of sorts of yours. He was from the Great Western Preservation Society, and they just steamed him back up and running. So I said that I would trial him on the railway, and if he does well, I will keep him, and he'll work on your branch line. Another Western engine, sir. Look at you, continuing with your grandfather's legacy of bringing Great Western engines, said Oliver proudly. Now, I will send engines to finish. I will send Diesel and D199 to finish your work on your branch line. But you guys meet him in the yard later. Right away, sir, said the two engines. Later, the two engines were waiting in the yard for the new engine to arrive. They both were curious what type of Great Western engine it would be. The possibilities were endless to the two. Well, it could be a prairie tank. Or another 5700 class, said Duck. Possibly, but who knows? It could be a 14XX, just like me. And soon, they heard a whistle that they never heard before. That must be him, said Oliver. And indeed it was. This engine had a forest green paint job with a white logo that had GWR on the side. He had 6 small wheels, a saddle tank, and a gray smoke box along with a gray cab. He also had the numbers 1303 on his side. He stopped outside the yard and looked around. Am I in the right place? I was told to meet here in Tipmouth Yard, said the green engine. Yes, my fellow Great Western fellow, you are indeed in Tipmouth Yard, I'm Duck, and this is my friend Oliver. Pleased to meet you. I'm pretty sure you'll like it here. This railway has become a decent home for us as well. I see, said Churchward. Oh, my name's Churchward, by the way. And, I see that your railway, it's quite, I'll get back to you on that. Anyway, this is your yard here? This seems out of order, but it could work. Well then, I'll get started. And with a toot of his whistle, Churchward began his work. As Churchward began to work, he was a very efficient shunter, moving trucks all around. Oliver and Duck marveled at how easy he made the work look, as he moved the cars around like he owned the place. He would shunt trains easily and make sure they were all in a nice, neat line for engines to take on their long journeys. And soon, the engine that was meant to collect the train would arrive in the yard. And the engine that collected the train would usually congratulate Churchward and say he did a great job. And soon, they would leave with their train. Later, Churchward was taking on coal before he started a new job, when Duck and Oliver rolled up beside him. I have to say, you are doing very marvelous work, said Oliver. I agree. You're very making the Great Western Railway proud, said Duck, agreeing with Oliver. Yes, I guess I am doing a good job in such rough conditions, said Churchward snootily. Rough conditions? I didn't see you struggle, said Duck. Whatever do you mean? Well, it's no offense to you, my dear friends, but this railway is a mess. This is nothing like the days of the Great Western, where engines were proper, perfect, and easily able to handle work. Whoever shucks your yard before I got here must be sent to do other things, said Churchward. Her name is Nia, and yes, she may not be used to shunting here, but she does do a good job. You would do well to respect her, said Oliver. Oh, please. If it's not Great Western, then it's not proper. Besides, everyone knows that the Great Western Ray is the most powerful and proper way to run a railway, said Churchward snootily. You know, I once had that attitude when I first joined this railway back in 1955. And yes, it does have that way. It does have its ways, the Great Western, but coming here I realized that the only true way to work on this railway is the Sodor Railway. Well, when that works out for you, let me know. And Churchward puffed away to start his next job. Later that night, Duck and Oliver were talking in the shed about Churchward's behavior earlier. I don't know, Oliver. Churchward is showing a very, how can I say, cocky attitude towards us, said Duck. I don't know, Duck. This is kind of troubling. He's showing attitudes like us when we first arrived, said Oliver. I agree, said Duck. I remember how I was when I first got here. I didn't get into any humbling accident, but I was very cocky, said Duck. I hope he doesn't have to get pushed down a turntable well, like I did, to learn the error of my ways. I hope so too. Besides, That seems to be the pattern with us engines that come from other railways. We act like we are superior, only to be put in our place later on, said Duck. The engines could sit there and only hope that the situation would be different with Churchward, so that he would not have to be hungry. But sometimes, fate does not work that way. The next morning, Duck was getting ready to take his morning train at the busy station. He was busy talking to Stephanie when suddenly Churchward backed down with a small goods train next to the platform. Churchward? You're taking trains now? Said Duck, puzzled. Indeed, said Churchward. Apparently the engine that was supposed to take it was ill or something like that. I don't know. It seems like Sodor engines always have something going on, he said with a snarky attitude. Stephanie, who has heard about Churchward's attitude, decided to speak up. Now, listen here, young engine. I get it. You feel like that you have something to prove. But trust me, it is not going to get you anywhere. See, I believe that he will soon cut off. I'm sorry, but I don't think I should be taking that from a museum piece, said Churchward. You spent, the last decade sitting in a shed while I have been at the Dickcock Railway Center doing things. That's the difference between me and you Sodor engines and you Bluebell engines. Great Westerns are actually good workers. However, you guys just sit around all day looking clean and shiny while engines like us work. Now, if you excuse me, I have a train to take, said Churchward. Despite your attitude, said Duck, I'm going to ask you to be careful. The trucks on Sodor are very troublesome and... Thank you, said Churchward, but I do not need your help. I'm going to show you what it's like not to lose your Great Western flavor, said Churchward, and with a toot of his whistle, the snooty tank engine left with his train. Churchward made his way on the line. He was pleased with himself because he felt like that he was the perfect engine to do the job that was given to him. He would pass by other engines and still comment, making very rude comments. Huh, museum railway. All these engines do is just sit in the shed and relax. Honestly, quite saddening, he says. Impudent scallywag, said Duke. But Churchward was making one fatal mistake. As he traveled down the line, he kept bumping the trucks, not on purpose, but occasionally, which made the trucks very cross. As he made his way under the bridge, he started picking up speed. Wait, what's going on? Said Churchward as he sped by. Stop, stop, stop! He flew by the station, still being pushed. Wait! Stop that! What are you guys doing? Said Churchward as he raced down the line. On, faster, faster, said the trucks, as they giggled, then past the docks, and he was still going even faster, with the trucks giggling and laughing. On. He tried to apply his brakes, but it was too late. Up ahead were a set of buffers, but even they didn't stop him. He crashed right into the buff and slid into the water below. Luckily it was a shallow part, but he still didn't make it any better. The cleanup started right away, with the breakdown trains arriving, taking care of the mess that Churchward made. Maverick and Roderick were here, being useful and cleaning up the mess right away. Churchward was lifted back on the rails first and shunted towards the back, His fire was out and he couldn't move. So a diesel had showed up to take him back to the yards. He was soon brought back to the yard where Richard Hatt was waiting for both of them. All right, Diesel, leave him here. I'll talk to him now. You're the boss, said Diesel, and with a honk of his horn, he left the yard. Now as for you, Richard Hatt continued, I've heard about the comments you've been making towards my engines and this railway. Now, I have no problems with you embracing your heritage, but it will not be at the expense of my engines. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Look around, because this yard will be your home for the next few weeks. And if I do not see any improvement in your behavior, I'll be sure to send you back to where you came from. Well, I've spoken to your superiors, and they said that they will make you a static display instead of a working engine. Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. And Richard Hatt walked away. Churchward had a terrifying thought. Well, it was terrifying for him. To himself, he said, what if the Great Western Railway isn't the correct way of travel, especially if it's work for the engines that worked here? And he sat there with a lot to think.